Welcome to the Digital Amateur Television Experimenters Night. This is VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania. Amateur radio is a worldwide hobby that has many different aspects. Digital television is just one of the many modes and areas that are covered. Maybe you're interested in becoming involved in the DATV Experimenters Nights. You realise that you do not have to be a radio amateur or need any ATV equipment to participate anywhere in the world. Also participate in the night by coming up to the Queen's Domain club rooms. Yes, right on top of the Queen's Domain in the heritage-listed Coast Wireless Station. You never know, we might get you in front of the camera or behind doing one of the many roles during the night. We get underway with our program on a Wednesday night from 7:30 p.m. local time. We'll see you soon. This is VK7 OTC.
Alright, this is VK7 OTC, the club station, the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania with our DATV Experimenters Night. And I've got Andrew VK7HPC. Hello.
Hello there.
How you going?
Good, thanks.
Excellent, excellent. I'll just do an acknowledgement of country. I wish to acknowledge Tasmanian Aboriginal people who are the traditional owners of the land and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, for they hold the memories, the knowledge, the culture and hopes of Aboriginal Tasmania. So, and please let us know. Lionel is in. Lionel's in early. Thank you, Lionel, from Eastern New York State. So one of our members in the US. Hello. Now, I've got Andrew in the studio. Andrew has just recently had a bit of a adventure with AMPRNet. Now, AMPRNet, I honestly thought didn't exist anymore, but it still does. It's still there. It's still there.
Three-quarters of the size I used to be.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. So, and Andrew offered to come in and give us a bit of an idea about the adventure. So, just to Andrew.
So it's kind of topical, seeing as one of the major Australian telcos had a meltdown with some networking. So I thought I'd try and reproduce that fun experience at home. So it started quite a few weeks ago by an application on the AMPRNet portal. So history of AMPRNet is when the internet was fairly early, they got a nice big chunk of address space for amateurs.
Well, surely.
That is still available for use by amateurs for amateur purposes.
Okay.
So there's a bit of a vetting process when you apply.
Yep.
You need to have a call sign and you need to say what you're going to use it for.
Okay.
So there's two ways you can get access to use your allocation. You say how much address space you want. So if you're just playing around, you can get a tunnel address, so you get a small allocation, but then you need to go through a gateway to get it activated.
Okay.
And when I was hunting around, a lot of gateways were in the States, or you'd have to have a colo provider and then run it off their machine with a VPN and back to you, and it was just a lot of faff.
Correct. And a lot of latency.
Yeah, so I thought I'd give it a try and go for the direct route.
Okay.
So my ISP is Aussie Broadband.
Okay.
Standard disclaimer, other ISPs are available.
Yep.
Quality of service may go down as well as up. Yeah.
And past performance is not an indication of future performance.
So, but what put me onto them, if you want to bring up that BGP page.
Yes.
You can see
now, let me just do a bit of a. Oh, And let's go to...
Yes.
Lovely.
So you can see on that I'm not the first person to do this. So there's
definitely
already a chunk of address space that is assigned.
Lots of 44s.
Yeah, that's allocated, that's announced by Aussie Broadband, that's already in the address space. So I thought, okay, they've done this before. So I went through. These are all the addresses that Aussie Broadband announce as part of their space.
Okay.
So BGP basically says, hey, if you want to get to this part of the address space, I know about it, come talk to me.
Yep.
And if you're Optus, you go, no, I know nothing.
Funny about that.
Yeah. So
Oh, cool.
you get a /24, it's the smallest address, that's 255 addresses.
Okay.
Which is quite a big chunk.
It's huge.
So to recap, I went back, there's an AMPRNet portal.
There is, right here.
And you basically go in, you register an address, you say what you want, you go through the vetting process, you tick the box that says direct application.
Okay.
The Australian gatekeeper vets you out a bit and says, yep, that sounds reasonable, I'll pass you over to the one person in the chain who does all the BGP allocations, Chris in the UK.
Okay.
So there is a bottleneck and it takes 3 to 4 weeks because he's dealing with everyone's requests and allocations.
Worldwide.
Presumably as well as his day job.
Yeah, okay, righto.
So that comes through, you get a letter saying you have authority to use this chunk of address space. I sent it off to Aussie Broadband, who went, yep, how do you want us to announce it? Do you have an AS as the magic number? Or do you want us to assign you a private one for now?
Okay.
So I went, no, can I have one of the private ones? They did it. And then I looked at my modem, my router at home, and then delightfully discovered it's already got the software in. So I did about 6 lines of configuration, and that was it. Oh, I had to reboot it, but yeah.
I love it.
And it was like, well, that was painless.
Yeah, well, you've got to win sometimes.
So I've now got the gateway up, I've assigned it to a separate VLAN at home, and that's my state of play at the moment.
Okay.
So let's have fun. Yeah.
Oh, well and truly. So the key question is, what are you thinking about using it for?
So it'll probably have, eventually I hope to have an SDR or more than one SDR on it. But in the meantime, I'm probably going to put the Raspberry Pis that I've got, ADSB, the AIS stuff, and this kind of anything that's kind of picking stuff out over the radio or playing around with things to pick stuff up over the radio. So it may end up with a bunch of infrastructure-y things on it.
Okay.
It'll probably end up with me playing with a small Pi cluster and assigning multiple bridged addresses onto it.
Okay.
But that's kind of, I've got to see the great keeper of the finance for that. So.
The Minister for Home Affairs.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
But that's kind of my plan.
Cool. Okay. Any packet? Like, are you thinking playing packet?
No.
No. Okay. Right.
No. I've looked at it and thought, no. I've played packet in the past and thought, yeah, do I really want to? No. I've got a nice shiny internet connection. Let's make things routable and make it do amateur things, but use modern technology.
Yeah. Okay. Not even a packet hat for a Pi or something.
We'll see. I mean, I'm still playing around with things like APRS, so it may end up some of that on, but yeah.
Okay. And you do have, you've got machines set up, or SDRs, or thinking about setting up SDRs. So ADSB's covering aircraft, AIS ships, and any other sort of...
Yeah, so I've got, what's the small little digital QRP box? QDX.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm going to play with that and see what I can do and get into the FT8 stuff on it. So.
Okay.
I know you can't do fully automatic, but it could be that if I'm not using it, I can try and work out can it be used as an SDR. And,
Well and truly.
Yeah.
Well and truly.
Oh, well, a web SDR type front end to it.
Yep. Yeah.
So it may as well sit there.
That's fantastic. And we looked up earlier. There are a couple of other VK7s who have got AMPRNet allocations, which is Danny and Scott. So HDM and HSE, and we know HSE is really into. In fact, hang on, I should be looking at should be looking. Oh, hello, Murray. Good evening. So good that you're watching. We miss you up here. Yeah, Scott and Scott quite often is on there as well. So and Danny's one of the original packet aficionados, I suppose you'd call him, out at Gagebrook, and has had packet. I don't even know whether Danny's still got packet set up, but was one of the certainly one of the last packet stations still operating in packet BBSs. So that's dating it. Still running out at Gagebrook. So good stuff. Oh, well, fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's excellent. So basically, what you've been able to do with AMPRNet is segment off all of the amateur radio side.
Yes, instead of it just being bridged through with a couple of ports on my home address space, I've got a completely separate address space at home for it. So that's,
from a cybersecurity point of view, probably a good thing to do.
Yeah, and also it means I can kind of separate stuff off, like mentally as well.
Yeah,
so you can say, everything on that network port is all amateur-y stuff.
Yeah, okay. And that traffic goes there.
Yeah.
Well and truly. Oh, well, that is fantastic. And relatively easy to do.
It was surprisingly painless. I pinged the 6 lines to my network guy at work and went, "Is this really all I need?" It's like, "Yeah, you need to put in an ANS blah," and that was it. It was like 7 lines, I think, in total.
Well, there you go.
It was
I love
ridiculously easy.
I absolutely love it. Well, I also brought in some historic show and tell, because I thought, we're talking packet, so I'm very disappointed you're not going to set up a packet station. Now, one of the first things that I'll show you, actually we can put it on here, so you can see it close up. And this is for those people who have been in packet for a while. One of the things that one of the things that what you're looking at here is a Baycom modem, and for those people who know Baycom, it's a Baycom style modem. It's not a Baycom modem. It uses the world modem chip, which is the 7910, I think it is, built in the late 80s, early 90s. And it is HF, VHF, there is 1200, 300 baud. It gives you all the status and all the levels of the little pots and bits and pieces. The funny thing I noticed on here was, the very last radio that I ever used this with was an ICOM IC275, which I really wish I'd never got rid of, because they are a brilliant all-mode 2-meter radio. I used to use it for satellite work, so that was the last one that I actually used this on. And the other notice on here, you'll note that the RS232 port, which is a DB25, not a DB9 or a mini DB or whatever, says on here RS232 configured for Baycom, because Baycom didn't stick to the RS232 standard, and things came out on different pins. So anyway, that's a packet modem, last used probably in the, I don't know, the 2000s ish. And in fact, I got these great little cases. I got a whole bunch of these. And because there's a lot of, I've got EEPROM programmers built into these, so that's how long ago that was. Actual EEPROM programmers and all sorts of stuff. They were really nice little boxes. Now the other thing is, and I'm not sure. I don't think Grant Willis would be watching this, but I might let him know that we did a segment on this. This was the Bible. Honestly, the Bible of packet radio in South Australia. It was written by Grant Willis, who I'm on the Spectrum Strategy Committee with in the WIA already. Still, second edition, September 1993. And the interesting thing was I looked inside, and I've got some penciled notes here about the SA bulletin board, forwarding frequencies. They're all HF frequencies. Keynet, chat, and a few other things and bits and pieces. So this was all about everything you wanted to know about the packet radio system, which, can I just say, in South Australia was all around South Australia. It was actually a pretty impressive packet radio system at the time. It was very impressive. So, so yeah, that was probably the sad thing here is I've still got it. Now the other thing that was inside, I have to show you this. I really have to show you this because this is a blast from the past. I came to Tasmania in 1991, I think, and I wanted to know where the repeaters were. So I drew a little map, and guess what? Repeater 2 is on Mount Wellington, and it's 146,700 VK7RHT. So everything old is new again. And all the others, Mount Faulkner's on a different frequency, Mount Reed's on a different frequency, Snow Hill, I'm not sure whether Snow Hill's on the same frequency, Mount Barrow is now Mount Arthur, Mount Duncan is on the same frequency, and Lonna is on the same frequency. So there you go. Now the other books, this one, which has got a silverfish eaten post-it notes. This was the ARRL book that they put out called Your Gateway to Packet Radio. This was excellent. Excellent book. You'll notice the IBM PC, the original IBM PC on the cover, along with a 6 meter or 2 meter radio and a packet modem. So this was fantastic, and you'll notice the silverfish each and post-it notes on the side. And the other book, I had a foray into TCP/IP over packet. Now this is actually quite sad because KA9Q Phil Karn went on to Qualcomm. Actually,
did he not do the trumpet windsock?
Correct.
Yeah.
No,
not trumpet.
But one of them.
Yeah.
One of them. That was Peter Tatum.
Yeah, that's right.
That was Peter Tatum. Because I worked with Peter Tatum when I was at the uni.
At one point, wasn't he? Yeah.
The uni. I worked at the uni as a casual student consultant in ITS for a little while. At around that time when Windsock was just absolutely exploding. Because everyone wanted to use this new thing called IP. But Phil Karn, unfortunately, I think died last year or the year before. Now, if you have a look in the annals of the internet, if you have a look at some man pages and a few other things on quite old systems, you will find that they were written by Phil Karn.
Yeah.
He had a huge amount to do with the development of the TCP/IP network around the world. So, and went on to be into Qualcomm, and I think he was still with Qualcomm actually when he died. I think it was. But anyway, there's a bit of legend for you. Now. Muzz, how much justification did you need to go before they agreed to allocate the address block?
Very little. I mean, I said what I want to do, which was realistically probably use about 8 to 12 addresses. Okay. But because the smallest allocation you can get is a /24 for 256 for direct announce. Okay. It was okay, yeah.
So you can put in for like 3 or 4 if you want, if you're not going to.
Yeah, but that would normally be through a gateway rather than a direct announce.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So
if you want to play BGP, you need to have /24.
Yep. Okay. Well, there you go, Muzz. And any questions, please let us know where you're coming in from. Please, on the chat. And if you've got any questions, shoot them through. So now you're welcome to stick around.
Yep.
What we have got is, and let me just do this, is, That's the people out in the room. Let me try that again. One we prepared earlier. Now we've got now. I need to head around there. So what we've got, and what I can do here is I'll do a manual turn here instead of a slightly. So what I showed a little while ago, two episodes ago, I think, was the RadioBerry. Now, I'm much more comfortable about doing this now because there is this is slightly more secure on what's going on here. The RadioBerry is a SDR hat for the Pi. You can see here there are the USB and the Ethernet connectors poking out here of a Pi 4, which is sitting underneath there. It's mounted on the back of the screen. The RadioBerry plugs into the GPIO port just here, and has a receive and a transmit output. It's got the D to A and A to D, which is this one here that's got the heatsink on it, and the reason for the fan. And the fan is essential. There are lots of comments on the various lists about the board. You need to keep that A to D and D to A down to below 80 degrees. And 80 degrees is B hot. And so what the fan does is keep it at about 40 degrees, which I'm very happy about. It also, I've organised the fan so that it's pushing air into the heatsink that's on the Raspberry Pi 4 as well. And everything stays really nice. So what we're looking at here, FPGA, a Cyclone 10 FPGA, which you have to specify because the RadioBerry has Cyclone 10 and Cyclone 16 chips on them. You need to specify when you install the driver which one it is. It is the architecture for the RadioBerry is the Hermes architecture, so HPSDR Hermes architecture, which is really nice because there is lots of already proven drivers, already proven control surfaces that all use the Hermes architecture, and it just works. It just works. One of the things that uses that architecture, there is a wonderful, 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 hang on, my fat fingers, this is a touch screen, but my fat fingers are exactly that. One of the, now if we turn on here and we shift this, there's a signal right there. We're on 20 meters. In fact, oh no, okay. Foreign language, okay. Sorry, I can't understand what they're saying. But one of the really nice features that they exploit here is there is a project, open source project called PiHPSDR, which uses Pi as a control surface. So this is the control surface I showed earlier. It enables you to configure a number of transmitters, receivers. In this case I've configured 2. All you need to do is go between them. This is on 80 meters and this one up here is on 20 meters. You can have them switching antennas if you've got the relevant boards, etc. And the high pass and low pass filters as well, the Alex filters or other filters. It's showing you obviously the band pass that you've set up. Which is 48k. I've got this set up to. You can set it up to 192k. So that's what you actually see. And a whole lot of controls that you are configurable down the bottom. They're not very visible on the screen. So I'll just point out. There's an audio frequency, so a volume control. There is a mic level. There is an AGC level, a drive level for the transmitter. There is also an RX gain and a squelch, which is in here. You can configure all of those. You can also have a zoom and a pan, which enables you to zoom in on things on the waterfall. There are 8 buttons down the bottom. This is standard. You can have these either as touch buttons on the bottom, or you can actually put 8 buttons, physical buttons on there, which go into the GPIO ports, the relevant GPIO pins. You can configure these, and these are fully configurable. Right at the moment, there is about 4 or 5 banks of functions for those 8 keys. You keep hitting the 8th key, and it changes those functions like MOX, band stack, the mode, the filter, the noise, the AGC, etc. We go to the next one, and it's giving us MOX, that's your transmit button if you want a transmit button on the screen. Lock things, your C-tune, all your VFO settings, changing them from A to B or B to A or A equals B, etc, etc. If you're running split, there is a split here, and you can set up what the split is, etc. So they are all configurable. On your menu button up here, if you click the menu button, it takes you through pretty standard the radio, the receiver, the transmitter, the PA settings. If you've got a PA on here, it is per band, so you can set up the PA output per band. So if your PA's got slight variations, you can set that up. A lot of the CW settings, the antenna settings, the DSP settings, so the filtering type settings. There are a whole lot of open collector outputs that you are able to configure. So if you've got switching, some sort of switching, either antenna switching or filter switching or whatever, it will put out those signals via the open collector outputs. So, and there is just, if I click on the open, fat finger, I think it's pushing, yeah. You can see it just brings up a matrix of, there are 8 receive, 8 transmit, and all of your frequencies down the side, and you can set up the matrix of how you want the open collector outputs to switch based on whether you're receiving or you're transmitting and what frequency it is. Really nice. Because I have on one of my HPSDRs at home, I have the standard Alex filters, which is, it just does it by default through the I2C bus. But if you put like I've got I think it was a Russian filter board. They don't comply with the I2C switching, but what you can do is it just presents 8 pins that you can then configure with the 8 pins from here and switch the right ones for the right filters for the right frequencies. So that's really, really nice. Lots of others, some display settings, some transverter settings. So if you've got a transverter on the output of this and you want to convert the frequency so that it is actually reading the transverter frequency, you set up the offsets. So that's really nice. There's an equalizer for both the receiver and the transmitter. Steps, which is your frequency steps. What you want the meters to say up here in this top corner. He does it again. The Vox settings, so levels, all that sort of stuff. Fast Fourier transform, there's a couple of settings there that you can change. Rig control, so if you're controlling other rigs via this, that's another way of doing it. What your toolbar down here is saying and how you set that up and what you want that to do. There's also MIDI control. MIDI's really big in like the UK, and so and a few other places, and so they actually have some MIDI control in here, and then about the page. So come on, click. Okay. Now our signals have disappeared. Anyway, okay, that's all right. See, that's what happens when you do live demonstrations. Oh, actually, no, that's not 20 meters. I'll change. Oh, I clicked the A to B. That's what I did there. 180 megahertz, and go. Oh, Let's make that 200. I think that's where those signals were. Megahertz. And I've clicked the lock. I bet you I've clicked the lock. Okay. PFA. We'll get there eventually, people. I'm not going to let this beat me. Ah, look at that. And there are some signals. Let me turn up the... There are some signals right there.
Just move slightly to the right.
Oh, sorry. So there you go. So anyway, a bit more of the RadioBerry, and I'm a bit happier about the mounting arrangement now, and a bit more confident that each time I restart it, everything's going to work. So that's a bit more of a look at the RadioBerry. And if you are going down this path, please put a fan on it. You won't have any issues if you put a fan on it. So yeah, that's the next thing. Right, let's go back to here. Now we've got David Goodrick up above me in South Hobart. So hello, and also Ron. Hello, Ron, VK7RM. Now I just thought I'd very quickly show you now when you have a test bench, and if you've done any repairs to ancient equipment, an absolute requirement on your test bench is the ability to bring up 240 volts slowly.
Can't limit it.
and have some sort of protection on it. And so because valve equipment or equipment that hasn't been run for a while, the capacitors dry out, all sorts of things happen. The switch mode power supplies may or may not decide to do what they're supposed to do, or whatever else. So you really need the ability to really slowly bring 240 volts up, and then leave it at 240 volts for a little while to see whether things are going to happen or not. I have and what's normally used is a Variac. So it is a big inductor, in fact, a big like a potentiometer for AC, but a big inductor that's got a swipe on it, and you literally turn it, and it gives you from 0 to, like my Variac goes from 0 to 280 volts. So I can actually go past the 240 volts. It's a big auto transformer. That's what it is, big auto transformer. And the one that I've got enables me to do it and supply 10 amps. So basically what comes out of the PowerPoint I can supply in current as well. You very quickly find the fault. Now, but the problem with that is it weighs a ton and you almost need two people to lift it. I managed to get hold of a small Variac. Now what sits behind this is it's a continuous auto transformer, if you like, with a swiper on the windings that enables you to go from 0 to 240 volts. Now it's only 0.6 of an amp, but that's over 100 watts that you can get out of this. So most things, most pieces of equipment like amplifiers and transmitters and all of that sort of stuff be okay with this. So what I ended up doing was putting it in a case. In fact, this case came from, it was a piece of audio equipment, because it's still got all the audio labels on the back, that I've taken off, and made it, obviously made it safe. Has an on-off switch. It's got a little voltmeter, AC voltmeter, that enables you, which is a bit of an innovation that I really should probably put on the other one, because I've got dymo labels on around that say 240 volts, 250 volts, 260 volts. And then there's the output. So it enables you to slowly wind up the voltage. You can see the voltage, and if anything goes wrong, past 0.6 of an amp, the circuit breaker clicks out. So anyway, and I can pick it up. I don't need two people to pick it up. So really, really good a thing for your test bench if you're into repairing old equipment. Absolutely invaluable. And of course, also when you old equipment, big disclaimer here. If you're not comfortable in taking covers off and that sort of thing, and you are not comfortable with using 240 volts, please don't do it, because 240 volts bites. So yeah, it's actually not the voltage, it's the current. And hopefully all of you out there have RCDs in your home, so things switch off. I have an earth leakage circuit breaker in my shack for all my circuits in the shack, and I have probably been saved by that a number of times. The old adage, whenever you work on valve equipment, you keep one hand behind your back, and you only work with one hand. It's a good adage. But anyway, Mini-Variac. And it has been used already. So yeah, that's our show for tonight. Thank you, Andrew, for coming in and sharing your AMPRNet.
And I shall give you an update as and when things come up. Yep.
Fantastic. And share addresses and all of that,
yep,
so we can see where we need to go. Yep. Yeah. So now I'll just finish off. We've got one event coming up. We heard about. See, all of these signals come up. All of these signals come up just as you finish off. There's all these stations suddenly come up. Anyway, December the 3rd, for our members that are here in Hobart, it's a car boot sale, a free barbecue, and it's a end of year celebration. So December the 3rd, after the broadcast, that's a Sunday. So please come up. If you want to sell anything, please don't just bring car boots. Bring things in your car boot, unless you're trying to sell a car boot. Come along, enjoy a snag, and hopefully we can redistribute some more treasures. So yes, that's our show for today. Thank you, and we'll catch you next Wednesday. 73.